1st. And I preached 2 weeks ago, I think. And this what happened, that Major had brought Wendy with him that day. She had said that she would like to have a program sometime, and I said, boy, have I got a deal for you. It is indeed my honor and privilege to introduce today the head of the Red Cross in this area, Ms. Wendy Spring.
First, thank you for inviting me to come join you that day, which is why I'm here today. I'm Wendy Spring. I'm with the American Red Cross. I've been with the Red Cross since 2004. I am the Volunteer Services Manager for our area. We serve 6 counties. So today I'm here. We're trying to recruit more volunteers in the area. So I'm going to do a small little presentation and give some statistics out, and anybody that wants to join the Red Cross as a volunteer, we would love to have you. And I want to thank Richard for being here with me today too, which is the reason that I'm even here, because he introduced me to the sheriff.
Good or bad?
So the mission of the Red Cross is to alleviate human suffering in the face of emergencies and by mobilizing the power of volunteers and the generosity of donors. We are not funded by the government, so all of the responses of the Red Cross is done through donor dollars. The fundamental principles of the Red Cross is unity, humanity, volunteer service, independence, universality, and I can't read the last one. I think I said it all. I did. These are the principles that all of the Red Cross actually represent. Anybody who represents the Red Cross follows these principles throughout the field. Humanity, the Red Cross is here to meet the person's basic human needs when it's needed most. Impartiality, we are here to help everyone and anyone. Neutrality, we do not take sides. Independence, the Red Cross is not federally funded. We maintain our own identity separate from the U.S. government. Unity, there can only be one Red Cross or one Red Cross society in one country. It must be open to all and must carry out the humanitarian work throughout the territory. Universality, Red Cross societies and all Red Cross and the world come together as one to restore humanity, to provide relief. Our services: preparedness, health and safety, biomedical blood services, disaster services, and services to the armed forces and international services. Here is what our volunteers and donors help us to achieve. Every 60 seconds, 63 people are assisted by the American Red Cross. 390,000 times a day, a child receives measles vaccinations from the Red Cross and partners. 30 times a day, a person receives life-saving Red Cross health and safety preparedness training. 190 times a day, Red Cross volunteers help a family affected by a house fire or disaster. 380 times a day, we provide emergency assistance to military and family members. Preparedness, health, and safety. For more than 90 years, the American Red Cross has helped people learn how to keep their families and themselves safe as part of the organization's mission of emergency preparedness and prevention. Blood services. We are actually one Red Cross, but I'm here today representing the disaster services side of Red Cross. So, disaster services. Our disaster action team members respond to local disasters, seems to meet the needs of those affected, providing Red Cross services to fill needs for things such as shelter, food, and clothing. In the 24 hours leading up to May the 27th, the Eastern South Carolina chapter, which is us, responded to 3 home fires in Darlington, Florence, Horry counties affecting 19 people. On May the 29th, 6 clients in Marion, 2 in Darlington and 5 in Horry County. From Friday, this past Friday to Sunday, there was 2 home fires in Marion affecting 7 people. Disaster responders get trained, which is what we're looking for volunteers to do today. They get trained to respond to local disasters or national disasters. Within our 6 counties, we have deployed 8 volunteers and 8 volunteers to Texas. 1 has went to Oklahoma. We are always out in the public trying to educate the public on how to be prepared and how to prevent something from happening in their own lives. Services to the armed forces. The American Red Cross provides training opportunities and services to military members, veterans, and their families to build resiliency. This includes preparedness, health and safety courses, outreach, and preparedness information. What happens is the Red Cross, when somebody has a family member who is in the military and they need to get an emergency communications message to that service member, the Red Cross is the liaison between the military and the family. What the Red Cross does is verify all the information and then report back to that commanding officer in hopes that the military service member will be allowed to come home. More volunteer opportunities. We're always looking for fundraising. On an average, 91 cents of every dollar goes to support the Red Cross mission. It's important to raise the funds in order to continue our mission for years to come. We do special events such as the annual Chicken Bog that happened on March 27th, which Richard was instrumental in making that happen. So we're always doing special events to try to raise funds. We actually have volunteer opportunities for anyone interested in assisting with grant writing. We have communication, social. Anybody that loves to be online and would like to advocate for the mission of the Red Cross, we would love for you to join our team. I'm always looking for volunteers to actually come out and do community presentations. We're looking for office volunteers. There's board member availabilities to join the board of the Red Cross. Ready When the Time Comes, group and employee volunteers. Ready When the Time Comes is a program that was established in 2000 and today is available for most critical disaster zones across the country. Ready When the Time Comes is when an organization would like to be engaged to have their employees receive Red Cross training, and then when a disaster or something happens, their employees are ready when the time comes to actually assist the Red Cross mission. Group engagement opportunities. There's also opportunities for groups who would like to come together and do a one-day activity, like a fundraising event, or if you want to come to the office as a group to help do comfort kits. Comfort kits are the items that we give to each family member after they've been displaced by a fire. You can become a hero and join the Red Cross. Volunteers play a critical role within our organization. Without you, we can't be able to deliver the key services and serve our community. You may be thinking, if I become a Red Cross volunteer, how will it benefit me? There are tons of benefits. You meet new people, you make a difference in your own community, resume building, experience, networking opportunity with community leaders, service learning experiences, community service hours required for graduation, public speaking, and leadership skills. So there are many different areas and opportunities that you can get involved with the Red Cross. To apply to become a Red Cross volunteer, you would go to redcross.org, and there's several steps that you would have to do to complete to become a Red Cross volunteer. I'm going to use Richard as an example. Richard has jumped in. He has taken, there's a lot of online classes, disaster classes. Richard has jumped in, taken, I don't know, how many classes is it now? 30?
21.
21 classes now. So when something happens, Richard is going to be able to help the Red Cross. He also assists every day with engaging the public, talking to people, trying to get more people involved in our own community. That's the key on a blue sky day, is to have everyone in the community take the classes, be ready for when the time comes, because it will happen, and you'll be able to assist your own community members in the community. There's 5 steps to become a volunteer. You have to go online and submit an application, activate your account. You have to read and agree to the Red Cross policies, initiate a background check, and register and attend an orientation class. Orientation just is an overview of all the Red Cross services and all the areas that you could get involved in. Does anybody have any questions?
Wendy, do you still have emergency shelters here in Dillon itself?
We do. You want to help me with this?
That's kind of how I got started in the Red Cross, other than Kay Summer. Kay was the chairman of the local Dillon board, and that's when I became active during that procedure. But being a school administrator or a school volunteer or whatever I am, I'm where most of the stuff that you don't want to deal with ends up. But we activate the centers when the Red Cross notifies us of a school activation. The schools are used as activation centers because they're the only one that can meet the test of the wind speeds and all. You have to be able to take 150 mile an hour wind speed. I talk about that because hurricanes are our most prevalent disaster problem here. We are the first evacuation center for Rotary County. Us, Marion County, Lakeview, and Lima all become activated whenever the beach has to evacuate. So we use Dillon High School, Lakeview High School, Lima High School, sometimes the National Guard Armory. I've just been told that the Guard Armories are not being used anymore because they have problems with that 150 mile an hour wind problem. But when they activate a schoolhouse, first thing has to happen is the school board has to say yeah. Well, I've been present when the school board didn't say yeah, and you get a call from the governor, and if you pick up the phone and they tell you it's the governor, it's probably the truth, because then she will explain to you why you're fixing to open that center and what's going to happen if you don't open it. But the activation of our centers is just paramount to handling especially hurricane evacuations and fire or major disasters. They had an apartment complex in Rotary County. The fire engulfed most of that apartment complex, so they had to do a massive evacuation to handle the people in that. And my first disaster was a tornado that went through Riverdale. Everybody remember that? I was awed at what the Red Cross did. Because you know what? When the fire department leaves, the sheriff's department leaves, the highway patrol leaves, who's there? The people that have been affected by the disaster. Well, that day the Red Cross was there, as they always are. And I was amazed at what they brought to the table and how fast they brought it. They were there before I got there, and I only had to drive from south of the border. So when the rubber meets the road, the only people going to be there in a disaster is the Red Cross. I grew up in anybody ever had a house catch on fire? You know what I'm talking about. I grew up in a house that caught on fire, and I'll never forget that night. That was the most horrendous thing as a young kid I'd ever witnessed. And that was before the Red Cross evidently did fire calls, the fire deal. Lately, I got a call on Easter Saturday from a minister in Dillon County. Said, I need somebody from the Red Cross and you're the only person I can think of. I said, what? You can't think of anybody else? I said, no. He said, I got a fire and we need a response. I said, well, let me handle that for you. So I called my contact with the Red Cross, chairman of their board. I should have had all this knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. Well, I finally figured out I didn't have it. That's why I started taking all these classes, because it is so involved. But to make a long story short, they lost their entire house, everything in it. They escaped with their lives and the clothes on their back. Children didn't even have shoes. And that was it. When the Red Cross responded immediately, within 45 minutes, there was somebody there on site, a volunteer, not paid. They all work for free. They're volunteers, just like I am. There's so few paid staff, I don't know how to do what to do because they're depending on volunteers to do it. And that's why we're here today. We need volunteers. That day I found out Dillon County only has 3 volunteers, if I count myself, which ain't a lot of help, believe me. But that's our goal, is to increase the number of volunteers in our county operations. Not just Dillon. Dillon's not the only one with the problem. In our whole 6 county area, we have 170 volunteers. 140 volunteers.
Oh, no, in all of our areas, no, there's about 400.
Well,
But not all 400 do respond every day.
they all don't do disaster.
That's correct. We have some that only respond when a disaster does happen, but they're trained, ready.
There's a lot of specialty areas in the Red Cross I've learned. And responding to a local fire is a big, big deal. And there's a lot of training involved when that volunteer goes to a fire, believe me. But at that fire, we bring clothing allowances, housing allowance, food allowances, mental health contacts and services. There's just so much the Red Cross brings to the table at that moment. I don't know, but I can't imagine much worse than a house fire and losing everything. No prescriptions, we even deal with that. No clothes, nowhere to go, no family, no food, and 2 children. So it struck me that day, we have got to do something in Dillon County to increase the number of volunteers. And that's why I asked Wendy to be here today, other than she was asked by the sheriff anyway. But because she can explain it a whole lot better than I can, I'm still learning. So that's what we're about, building that volunteer corps. She's the one in charge of that. So.
And I can assure you that there's something here that will pique your interest that the Red Cross can offer for you to volunteer doing. It's just a matter of jumping in and meeting with me, and we'll get you going. Does anybody else have any questions? Thank you, Richard. You did great. Any other questions?
Kate, your experiences with the Red Cross.
I'm going to ask you, how many respond? I know you said the 6 counties.
6
area
counties.
That you mentioned, Marion, Mullins.
Yeah, they're right up here.
Yeah.
Darlington, Dillon, Marion, Mullins, and Marlboro counties, and
How many
Oregon.
fire responses have they had in Dillon County for this year?
Oh, I'm not sure that I know the exact number of that. If you'll leave me your contact information, I'll be glad to send that to you.
I know we have done 30, 35 a year, which is a lot of families.
Absolutely, absolutely.
I get a report every month on it. It seemed like last month there was over 30 in the 5 and 6 county area, which is hard to believe, but that's about right. Because she had 3 this weekend.
I had 3 this weekend
That's just 2 days.
in 2 days.
Tell them about the fire alarm program.
The Red Cross is partnering with the fire departments, going out into people's homes and installing smoke alarms. What we're doing is the fire department is actually the one who is installing the alarms, and the Red Cross is there educating the families on safety, on fire safety. So we're partnering with the fire department to do that, which has been a great program, and I think so far 6 lives have been saved as a result of that.
In Dillon County, I don't have to tell you, we have a massive number of trailer houses. And these new alarm systems, I was impressed, the batteries last 3 years or longer. So you don't have to change them out every year. So that's a whole new technology. And I don't know, just like me in my office, it's a battery. And once you starts beeping, I just pull the battery out of it and never put a new one in it. So it's doing a lot of good, right? But I think everybody has that same problem. But this program is unreal. They did it in Darlington County
And Hartsville.
and Hartsville, and we're going to schedule Dillon. So the Red Cross has many facets and many areas to volunteer in, that being just one.
We also have a pillowcase project that's came out, and we go into schools and educate kids, and we take a pillowcase in the school to each child, and the child works with their family to do an escape plan. The child is encouraged to put anything that's precious to them in that pillowcase and keep it under their bed for them to grab and go in case of a fire. So we're trying to start young and educate them as they get older to prevent them from going back in, because that's where most of the fatalities happen, is people going back in their houses.
Have any of you ever thought about a fire escape plan from your own house? I never had until a month or so ago. And I went to this class and they got talking about a fire escape plan, and I got to thinking. The only way out of my house is the front door from my bedroom, and I got to go through probably the worst part of the house for the fire. There's no other way out. It's one way out, one way in to the bedroom. And I got thinking about that, and you know what? There's a hammer on my nightstand now where I can bust out the windows of my bedroom and go out the windows. Most people don't realize that it's too late and you're in that panic scenario. And think about, how am I going to get out of the house if it catches on fire? So that's just one thing that it's amazing what I'm learning in dealing with Red Cross programs. But if you ever thought about it, think about, how am I going to get out of the house if it catches on fire? And you'll see the problem. Most houses are like mine. There's one way into a bedroom and one way out. So, and you ever tried to bust a window out of a car or a house? It's not real easy. It'll take a hammer or a big shoe. So, anyway, that's just one episode there.
In another area, if you do not want to be a disaster responder, that is okay. We have the initial disaster responders who go on scene to assist the family who's been affected by a fire. But after that initial contact with that family and assistance, we also have another program that's been implemented that we follow up with that client, with the fire family, to make sure that all their needs have been met. So we do a follow-up process with them as well, not just go out and do that initial first-time assistance. So we do go back and follow up, so that might be an area that you might be interested in assisting in. Any other questions? Well, I want to say thank you for listening to me today. I look forward to y'all jumping in and joining our team of volunteers. We have an amazing team of volunteers, and we would love to have you. And thank you again for having us. And where's Mike? Thank you.